we're gonna go ahead and redo that pot. Squeaky and good. Okay, we're gonna make like a pan roasted carrot dish with like a maple Dijon sauce, some seared halloumi cheese, toasted pine nuts, and some greens on top. Pretty easy, like you can make this as a side dish. I got pine nuts, they're on sale today. Pretty hyped, so I'm gonna put these in the oven to toast a little bit, 350. Be super careful when toasting nuts because they burn quick. They go from toasted to burnt really quick. So what I do is open your phone, set a timer for every 2 minutes. I like to cook it in mostly butter because we're gonna make a butter sauce after as well. But the oil will prevent the butter from burning. Butter burns pretty easily, so oil will raise its smoke point up to a similar smoke point that the oil has. We're gonna cook in a little bit of butter, a whole bunch of thyme, and you don't gotta be fancy with this. We're not gonna serve this, we just want it to flavor that butter. And yeah, I know it looks like a lot of butter, but like, you know, we're just cooking carrots, so we're trying to make them really good. People use this much butter when they cook a steak, and nobody bats an eye, so you can use this much butter on carrots too. We don't want this super hot. We're not looking to sear these. They're gonna pick up color, but we're gonna cook them slower so that they cook all the way through. Because if you cook them really hot, they'll get color really quick and they'll look nice, but they might still be raw in the center. We're gonna hit them with a little bit of salt. And I actually like black pepper here. And periodically, like, just move them around, spin them, make sure they're getting color on each side. I'm on about medium heat. How are we looking? Not there. Okay, so we're gonna make the sauce. I've always loved this sauce, and I know that it works really nice with carrots. So we're gonna take, this is a huge shallot, so ideally you use one small shallot, but you can just rough chop it because we're gonna blend it. I would say equal parts Dijon and maple. But if you taste it and if you taste this and you want it a little bit sweeter or you like it a little more acidic, you can balance it as needed. I'm gonna use about 2 tablespoons. We'll put a good bit of maple syrup in there. And if you don't want as much mustard flavor too, you can just put a little bit of mustard and then use a little bit of cider vinegar if you like. We'll put a little bit of fresh thyme in here as well. Just the leaves. There it is, the nuts. Not quite. Okay, so we got all that in. I'm gonna hit it with like a couple tablespoons of water because we're gonna use this as a glaze in the pan. So we're gonna put it in the pan and we're gonna mount it with some more butter to turn it into a butter sauce. But again, if you guys watch the Brussels sprout videos, we did the same thing. You add a little bit of water because the water will reduce right away when it goes into a hot pan. So that little bit of water will make sure that things don't end up throwing all your seasoning out of whack. Also season this with a little bit of salt and pepper. Okay, sauce looks good. Have a taste. It's a bit sweet for me. So, I'm just gonna add a bit of cider vinegar, help balance that sweetness. And I'm also gonna add a pinch of salt. That tastes great. Those are nice and toasted, pretty even color. You can see some of them are starting to go quite brown, so we'll pull them now. And they're really, you can tell when they're done because they really start to smell. Okay, so another garnish we're gonna do, kind of garnish, kind of component, is seared halloumi cheese. So halloumi cheese is this cool cheese that won't melt when you pan fry it. I would cut it how you want before you cook it so you don't have to cut hot cheese after. And this is just because I mean, for presentation's sake, this is what I want it to look like. So our carrots are looking pretty good, but you want to make sure that they're cooked through. They're not quite cooked through. Okay, so I got a pan preheated, just oil in this one, and we're gonna sear our cheese. And we're just gonna sear it really hard on one side, and that's it, and then we'll use it as a garnish. In the meantime, our carrots are almost cooked through. Super nice color on here. We're gonna ditch this time, and I'm actually gonna pour off all this extra fat because we're gonna put in new butter that hasn't been cooked, just so that we keep it all in one pan. We'll go in with our glaze. So we've added our glaze. And this will kind of obviously finish cooking the carrots. And we're just looking to melt this butter and emulsify this into the sauce. Give it a really nice bit of richness. We can turn it off the heat and just let that slowly melt. Kind of keep it moving. Add a bit more liquid, water, or vinegar. If it starts getting a bit too thick, you can always add some water. But the butter should melt relatively quickly. And then I'm just going to have a taste of a little broken piece here and make sure that the salt is okay. It's going to be really hot if you do this because it's hot sugar, so be careful. We're going to plate these. Yes, it fits. That was the biggest one. Plate these glazed carrots. And I'm going to plate just over half them, and then we're going to put some of our cheese. And then we'll go back with the carrots, just so that we're kind of layering it. And okay, and then once they're plated, you obviously want to put the rest of this beautiful sauce. Nice kind of sweet and sour sauce. A few of those. And then I got just some pea greens. I love to use these things. They taste really nice and subtle and fresh. Put those over top. Roasted carrots. Pan roasted carrots with maple, Dijon, halloumi, pine nuts, and greens. Yeah. Tastes good.